Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
Margot Robbie, a woman the world adores. On the Barbie red carpet, she shimmers like a goddess, the perfect smile, golden hair, dazzling gowns. To the world, Margot seems to have it all: beauty, talent, money, fame. But here's what most people don't know. There was a time when Margot Robbie wanted to quit acting. She once confessed, "I thought about walking away from Hollywood. I felt overwhelmed, like the world was watching my every breath." Behind the glamorous film sets and blockbuster premieres were sleepless nights, anxiety attacks, moments of deep panic. When the world cheered her name, Margot just wanted to disappear. And maybe you've asked yourself, how does a small-town girl from Queensland, Australia, survive the crushing weight of Hollywood? What kept Margot going when everything inside her wanted to give up? But the truth behind the Barbie glow is darker than you think. Before Hollywood, before Barbie, before the fame, Margot Robbie was just a girl from Dalby, a small farming town in Queensland, Australia. Her childhood wasn't filled with glitz or privilege. Her father, a sugarcane tycoon, left the family when Margot was just 5. Her mother, Sari, worked as a physiotherapist, raising 4 kids on her own. Margot has often described her mother as a superhero, a woman who held the family together with sheer determination. Growing up, Margot wasn't the golden girl everyone sees today. She was a wild, energetic kid, often labeled a tomboy. She loved climbing trees, riding dirt bikes, and surfing, anything that got her outdoors and moving. But behind the carefree energy, Margot was no stranger to responsibility. By age 16, she was working 3 jobs to help support her family: cleaning houses, making sandwiches at Subway, working in a surf shop. She knew the value of hard work early on, and she never waited for luck to find her. Acting for Margot wasn't some polished, planned dream. She didn't go to drama school. She didn't have a rich family to open doors. She simply loved performing, from school plays to backyard shows for her siblings. At 17, she moved to Melbourne, chasing auditions, determined to break into the Australian TV scene. She hustled, she auditioned, she faced rejection after rejection, but slowly she found her way. Her big break came with the Australian soap opera Neighbours, a beloved TV show that became her training ground. Margot appeared in nearly 300 episodes, learning how to carry scenes, develop characters, and hold her own on set. But even then, she was restless. Margot didn't just want to be a local TV star, she wanted more challenge, more growth, more risk. Little did she know the next leap would catapult her into global fame and into a world she was barely prepared for. Margot Robbie's rise wasn't luck, it was pure, fearless grit. After leaving Neighbours, she flew to Los Angeles with no big-name agent, no A-list connections, and barely enough money to stay afloat. For months, she hustled through auditions, faced rejection after rejection, and wondered if she had made a huge mistake. But then came the moment that would change everything. Margot landed a final audition for The Wolf of Wall Street, a Martin Scorsese film starring Leonardo DiCaprio. She knew this was her shot, and she wasn't about to play it safe. During a heated scene with DiCaprio, Margot felt frustrated. Without thinking, she slapped him across the face, hard. Everyone in the room froze, then they burst into laughter. That slap wasn't in the script, but it wasn't just bold, it was brilliant. Scorsese later called her a powerhouse, and DiCaprio praised her as one of the most talented actresses he had ever worked with. The Wolf of Wall Street became a global hit, and Margot? Overnight, she was no longer just an Australian soap star, she was Hollywood's breakout star. Roles poured in. Focus with Will Smith. Suicide Squad as Harley Quinn. I, Tonya, where she transformed into Tonya Harding and earned an Oscar nomination. From the outside, it looked like Margot was unstoppable, but behind the scenes she was running on empty. She once admitted, "I thought if I paused, everything would vanish. So I just kept going. More roles, more press, more." The girl who slapped Leonardo DiCaprio had become a worldwide icon, but fame is a double-edged sword, and the higher she climbed, the heavier the weight became. Her rise was built on sheer grit, but behind the scenes, the cracks were starting to show. From the outside, Margot Robbie seemed to be living the dream, but inside, she was falling apart. As her fame skyrocketed, Margot's world shrank. She couldn't go for a coffee without paparazzi trailing her. She couldn't scroll through social media without seeing headlines dissecting her body, her relationships, her career. At first, she tried to laugh it off, but over time, the pressure became unbearable. Margot began suffering from intense anxiety. Before red carpets and interviews, she felt her heart race, her hands sweat, her chest tighten. Simple moments, grocery shopping, walking through an airport, became sources of dread. She couldn't sleep. At night, she lay awake, her mind spiraling with worries. What if I mess up? What if they hate me? What if this all disappears? In hotel rooms far from home, Margot sometimes broke down in tears, alone, exhausted, wondering if any of this was worth it. In one interview, she opened up. "I wanted to quit. I wanted to go home to Australia and leave it all behind. I felt like I couldn't handle the attention, the pressure, the constant scrutiny." The world saw Harley Quinn, bold, fierce, untouchable. But Margot was just a human being, one who felt trapped in a life that no longer felt like hers. There's a particular loneliness that comes with fame. Everyone knows your name, but no one really knows you. You're surrounded by crowds, but you feel completely alone. Have you ever worn a mask so long you forgot who you were underneath? For Margot, the mask was slipping. She began questioning everything. Did she even love acting anymore, or was she just running on autopilot, too scared to stop? Margot had reached a breaking point, and something had to change before she lost herself completely. Margot Robbie knew she was at a breaking point, and for the first time in years, she stopped. Instead of saying yes to every role, every press event, every offer, she began saying no. No to projects that didn't inspire her. No to interviews that felt invasive. No to the pressure to be everywhere, all at once. But Margot didn't just retreat, she took charge. In 2014, together with a few close friends, she co-founded Lucky Chap Entertainment, a production company built on one clear mission: to tell the stories she cared about on her own terms. With Lucky Chap, Margot wasn't just an actress for hire. She was a producer, a creative force, a decision-maker. The company championed female-led projects like I, Tonya, Promising Young Woman, and Barbie, films that flipped the script on what Hollywood expected. This wasn't just a career shift, it was a survival strategy. Outside of work, Margot also made space to heal. She leaned on her family, especially her mother Sari, the superhero who had raised her. She deepened her relationship with British producer Tom Ackerley, whom she quietly married in 2016. She found grounding in simple routines: surfing, reading, spending time with friends away from the spotlight. In interviews, Margot spoke openly about setting boundaries, how she learned to protect her mental health, to disconnect from the chaos, to remember who she was outside the fame. "I realized," she once said, "that if you don't create balance, no one else will do it for you." Margot didn't leave Hollywood, she reshaped it for herself. This was her turning point, not escaping fame, but learning how to survive it on her own terms. Today, Margot Robbie is no longer just Hollywood's golden girl. She's a powerhouse. Through Lucky Chap Entertainment, she's reshaping the industry. Her production company has become a launchpad for female creators, pushing projects that challenge stereotypes and give women complex, unapologetic roles. With I, Tonya, Margot turned a disgraced figure skater into a three-dimensional character, earning her first Oscar nomination. With Promising Young Woman, she helped bring a razor-sharp story of gender and power to the screen. And with Barbie, she reimagined one of the most iconic and controversial symbols of femininity, turning the plastic doll into a global conversation about identity, freedom, and what it means to be perfect. But Margot's real triumph, it's not just the awards or the headlines or the record-breaking box office. It's that she's found a way to be in control, to choose work that excites her, to live a life that's hers, not just the world's projection. In interviews now, Margot speaks with a calm, grounded confidence. She laughs about the chaos of fame, reflects openly on her past struggles, and, perhaps most importantly, sets boundaries that keep her healthy. "I've learned that success isn't about doing everything," she says. "It's about doing what matters." At just 35, Margot has already left a mark on Hollywood that few achieve in a lifetime. But she's not slowing down. She's producing, acting, mentoring, and dreaming up what's next, not as a woman crushed by the weight of fame, but as one who carries it lightly, on her own terms. Behind the Barbie smile is a fighter, a woman who faced the darkness and came out stronger, freer, and more powerful than ever.